Hello world, it's Birdo Prey 5, Qapla. These are my 5 biggest nitpicks for Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 8, Surrender. As always, we'll set spoiler alerts to condition red. This week there was no shortage of nitpicks, and even the nitpicks chosen had more nitpicks of their own. An inception of nitpicks, if you will. Let's just get started with number 1.
You should know, the changeling came to our home pretending to be you. He was pretty charming, too.
Really? How charming.
Good in bed, bad at pizza.
So just like me.
Why did the changelings pretend to be Riker to Deanna? Just to sleep with her?
The Titan's strategic advantage won't last. They're still outgunned. We may not survive. Kestra will have lost everyone.
And further, why didn't Vadic's people kidnap Riker and Troy's daughter, Kestra? If you really need to break a parent by threatening someone, you're far more likely to get them to talk by threatening their child than a spouse they may no longer even care for. I don't know that Riker would trade Picard for Deanna, but knowing he already lost a son, I can easily believe Riker or Troy would betray Picard to save their last living child. It hardly seems worth pointing out, but Troy also mentioned at the beginning that she was taking care of Riker's wounds, and yet we see she has no tools, no equipment, or even any bandages. So what was she doing to him? He talks about not being able to see her tortured anymore, but she doesn't have a single mark on her. Nothing about Riker and Troy's scenes on the Shrike make any sense at all. Number 2. Despite being told the crew is stuck where they and Picard and his team have barely an inconvenience in meeting up with Geordi to tell him that they need data to restore access for the crew so they can move about the ship, even though they were clearly able to move about the ship, Picard makes a nonsense remark about raising the partition between Data and Lore, how that could help Data destroy Lore, and Geordi tells us,
well, couldn't we just reverse that? You raise the partition, and Data erases Lore, then takes control of the ship.
Data's ethical subroutines don't permit him to take a life of any kind.
WTF are you talking about, Geordi? You were Data's best friend. Data was perfectly capable of killing if the need arose. Because it was the next generation, killing was always a last resort. But he certainly could kill. And in fact, he did. We saw it in Descent. His ethical subroutines were up. We saw he kills the Borg Queen in First Contact. We can even go all the way back to the TNG episode The Most Toys and see Data could kill. In fact, not only could he kill, he could lie decently as well.
Mr. O'Brien says the weapon was in a state of discharge.
Perhaps something occurred during transport, Commander.
If Data was not able to take a life for any reason, he never could have been a bridge officer on the Enterprise. I'd argue he wouldn't even be fit to be in Starfleet at all. More proof to me this season's writers don't know the history of the characters they are dealing with. Number 3. Why is Raffi fighting changelings with swords? Why is anyone fighting changelings with bladed weapons? And more importantly, why do they seem to be winning? It just hurts. How are these superior changelings? Changelings used to be able to easily dodge bladed weapons, and even if they got hit, it would do no damage. Heck, changelings used to live in space. These new changelings are easier to kill than red shirts. Why would anyone accept Vadic's offer to become these so-called enhanced changelings is mind-numbingly dumb. The only thing enhanced are their ease of being killed. Number 4. After Vadic and her crew go out of their way to not kill people aboard the Titan, such as Geordi La Forge and even Captain Shaw, the moment the Titan's crew gets the upper hand,
Get off my bridge.
Fucking solid.
they kill Vadic and every other shapeshifter on board without any attempt to interrogate any of them as to the reason Jack Crusher was being chased, or the larger plans for Frontier Day. These low-level henchmen may not know the plans, but you should at least try. As part of the same nitpick, how stupid was Seven for destroying the Shrike?
Give it everything we've got. Fire!
Maybe they could have used another starship. Maybe there were clues on board the ship. And for all Seven knew, there could have been more hostages there. Nothing this season is right about killing first and asking questions later. Can you find some Vulcan on the Shrike crew to attempt a mind meld and maybe get some answers for us? And number 5. That red door. That effing red door. It's a reminder to me that I've wasted hours thinking what is behind it. I've debated online with others about why their opinions are so obviously wrong. I've given good, reasoned arguments on why it can only be one thing or another, only to change my mind and argue something completely different the next day. I may have mistakenly claimed a theory I first read in the comments was my own, and I apologize if that happened. I assure you it was unintentional. You can imagine the wild theories I've spoken about. There are dozens more I considered but never mentioned. The point is what the red door represents. The mystery box formula for new Trek. The staple behind every season of Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard since 2017. And it wasn't new to Trek. Lost was an entire series built on the same. But what is consistent in every series I've ever seen it tried, and in Star Trek especially so, what is behind the red door is always a disappointment. No matter how smart a writer may think he or she is, they cannot compete with the combined imaginations of thousands of their most dedicated fans after weeks of debate. If we open the red door and it's a Borg queen, that might have been okay 5 weeks ago. But now it needs to be so much more. Not just a Borg queen, but a Borg changeling alliance looking for Jack Crusher, who was genetically created to be a Borg king as the son of Locutus, and Beverly was infected by a Pa-wraith when she passed through Deep Space Nine, and well, you get it. The nitpick of nitpicks isn't that the red door might disappoint, because I know it will. The nitpick is that the red door exists at all. If you wrote 8 episodes and you have your viewers hooked on what is behind the red door, you may get our views and our clicks, but you will not get my respect. Happy Easter for those who celebrate. Please comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed what you've seen. Qapla All, bird out.
This is Spot. This simple creature managed something quite miraculous. Something of which I did not know I was capable. In a way, he taught me to love.